Now, this is an interesting article for crypto people. As you know, 8chan, the QAnon boards and whatnot, or board, went down, and it gets attacked, it gets all kinds of stuff. And they said, we think we have a solution going forward. It's almost ready to implement. If we were to use this interesting way of putting it on blockchain, we could actually protect the site from going down. I thought, really? That's interesting. What do they have to say about this? From Coindesk.com. And here's the takeaway. Administrators at 8kun, which is now the new site for 8chan, 8kun.net, the anarchic message board formerly known as 8chan, have been experimenting with blockchain and peer-to-peer technologies in an effort to build a website resistant to deplatforming and censorship. They found an ideologically aligned open-source blockchain to piggyback on, but the developers don't seem to be keen on protecting 8kun from activist attack. Ron Watkins, the principal 8kun developer, plans to launch the mysterious project Odin in an attempt to bolster the publicly accessible and hidden versions of the site. Let me go down to where it's actually at. Unlike other platforms that have faced controversy for banning relatively innocuous speech, 8chan features a full commitment to the promise of the First Amendment, site owner Jim Watkins, Ron's father, told the House Committee on Homeland Security in a closed-door session back on September the 4th. At the same time, it has worked responsibly with law enforcement agencies when unprotected speech is discovered on its platform. What follows is an inside account of 8chan's rebirth based on interviews with Ron Watkins. It also includes interviews with Frederick Brennan, the now excommunicated and deeply critical creator of 8chan, who quit after playing a key role in developing its blockchain solutions. While the ClearNet, or publicly available version of the site, is down intermittently and unlikely to survive an onslaught of continued compromising attacks, Watkins described a strategy to rebuild 8chan through decentralized crypto workarounds instead of relying on consolidated services that become unusable in the face of controversy. Loki, L-O-K-I. 3 months ago, after going dark, 8chan's developers turned their backs on traditional internet service providers, or ISPs, and found a permissionless, decentralized, and censorship-resistant way to host discussions online. Chief among these is an open protocol called LokiNet that will soon be connected to a blockchain. The network, based on a fork of the Monero cryptocurrency called Loki, functions like the privacy-protecting Tor network. LokiNet provides a pathway for hosting web content, including decentralized marketplaces, forums, and other web applications that is resistant to censorship and deplatforming. My friends, welcome to Internet 3.0 in the future, okay? Maybe this will actually be 4.0. Any website accessed through the .loki top domain level is passed through an onion-style router that bounces user data packets necessary to surf the web through a distributed network of nodes to obfuscate users' destinations and origins. Loki is open for anyone to use, and the nonprofit that maintains the network was made aware of 8kun's intentions only 4 days before the launch. Watkins was clear that 8kun was not or has not partnered with the Loki development team, but instead is using the network that they set up and made available for anybody. Simon Harmon, director of the Loki nonprofit based in Melbourne, Australia, said he was surprised that the network withstood the influx of new users, many of whom likely downloaded the software to support 8chan's relaunch. Getting several thousands users to try out experimental software, that's a plus, he said. Since the LokiNet system went live in 2018, there have been 5,271 downloads of its routers, its software, of which 3,600 happened since this past September 24th, of the 5,271. Watkins said he set up a few LokiNet addresses and front ends that connect to the network and service the website. Nick Lim, CEO of Vanwatech, also built a content delivery network on LokiNet to serve 8kun's service node apps, or SN apps, private websites or web services similar to Tor's hidden services, and provide acceptable data speeds. We chose LokiNet because, while still experimental, it is already a technical powerhouse, Watkins said. However, over the weekend, an influx of friendly and hostile users flooded 8kun and nearly crippled the website. To be clear, Loki, named after a mischievous mythological character, did not choose 8kun, and as agnostic parties attacked the message board served by LokiNet, lead developer Jeff Becker said he doesn't, quote, want to get involved. I don't want to get involved. So he's not commenting, he's not going to get involved, just leave it be is what I'm taking that as. Oh, and here's the next quote as I scroll down. I have no intention of trying to get rid of 8kun or shut down the network. I'm just worried that it is quite easy to attack the network in this early state, and someone will probably do it, but it certainly won't be me, he said. So there's a little more to the article. Odin. So you've heard of Odin, Odin. Watkins says he has another card up his sleeve if LokiNet proves unworkable. Project Odin, named for the ancient Norse god of wisdom, Loki's blood brother in mythology, may provide a way to leverage 8kun's users to run front-end nodes that support the website's decentralized backend. Watkins suggests Odin will supplement the other models of security in his plan by enabling cross-platform interoperability, a shared user database, and immutability. Quote, activists might be able to temporarily deplatform 8kun.net, but can they deplatform 10,000 mirrors maintained by the community, said Watkins. He claims to be on the 9th iteration of the project. However, no previous versions of Odin were published, and only traces of its development are available online. There are potential liabilities with having users run their own front ends, he explained. With details scarce, those following the project are left to speculate. Justin Johnson, an IT security specialist in North Dakota and a frequent visitor of the Chans, has high hopes. Quote, this is the future of open source, which maintains the values of openness and accessibility, he said. The technology seems way past Ron's pay grade at this point. If they're able to get 8kun available on ClearNet in a permanent capacity, I would be very surprised, the developer said. Then there's another thing here, SUSE coin, S-U coin, S-U-S-U coin, SUSE coin. In 2018, when 8chan was still alive and alternatively horrifying or thrilling people, Watkins and Brennan began developing a blockchain solution that would become known as SUSE coin. Motivated by a fear of corporate consolidation on online publishing, the SUSE team created a blockchain protocol, quote, where anyone can securely voice their thoughts and opinions without fear of reprisals, bans, or deletions, end quote, according to the SUSE coin white paper. Watkins hoped that SUSE coin would develop into a substrate from which a whole ecosystem of censorship-resistant platforms would spring forth, beyond the reach of authoritarian governments, censorious corporations, and overzealous moderators. A blockchain-based message board, SUSEcoin amounted to a Bitcoin fork that supports the exchange of small blobs of text, according to extensive CoinDesk interviews with Brennan. On June 26, 2018, the SUSEcoin team created a Genesis block. The idea was to use outputs created during cryptocurrency transactions to archive message board posts. While the code was based on the main Bitcoin protocol, it included features from the splinter cryptocurrency known as Bitcoin Cash, probably because it's faster, I bet. Like its namesake, Wrestlers, Sumo, S-U-M-O, wasn't pretty. It's a technical wreck and not at all anonymous, Brennan wrote in an email. Under the new system, users would have to pay to post because the messages were limited by SUSEcoin's 512-byte op return field. A 100 kilobyte image would need approximately 195 transactions, totaling pennies in value to go through. By tying messages to transactions, Brennan argued SUSEcoin was part of a broader attempt by Watkins to monetize 8kun. In fact, prior to 8chan's deplatforming, Jim Watkins implemented a King of the Shekel feature on the website, which enabled users to pay in SUSE to promote their posts. But 8chan users were not interested in having to download new software or pay fees to post, so SUSE garnered almost no users, according to Julian Field, co-host on the QAnon Anonymous podcast, which debunks conspiracy theories from online forums. The blockchain has long been touted as a boon for come what may freethinkers, but beliefs in its powers is hardly universal. Blockchains are shitty, slow, and expensive databases that do not scale well at all for something like user-generated content across billions of data points, said Andrew Torba, CEO of Gab, a social network that prioritizes free speech over mainstream sensitivities and was itself deplatformed amid a media controversy. Um, I mean, it's kind of a long article there, not too bad, but the main thing is they're looking. What's the gist of this? They're looking at blockchain. They're looking at blockchain for a solution. This brand new technology, blockchain. And if it turns out that they find something that actually works, oh, we thought it was slower. We thought it was, oh no, this actually works. This particular protocol or whatever, or not protocol, but this particular blockchain is tweaked to work really well with what we want to do. You know, maybe it's based off of such and such coin. We revamped it and made it our own blockchain out of it. You know, kind of like Litecoin did with Bitcoin, Digibyte did with Litecoin code, that kind of thing. The bottom line is they're looking at this and nothing else really as a solution to maintain free speech online, outside of governments, outside of all that crap, a place where it's just an open public square. Come on in. It's crypto. So, look, you know me, I'm all for it. You're talking crypto? Great. And like we used to say early on, man, you're going to see this blockchain is going to replace a lot of antiquated systems. Yeah, maybe it's not fast enough for, to do a big content delivery system like on a giant web form or something. Not yet. Which is why if you look at Theta protocol, they've got two different coins and you're not streaming content to and from the actual blockchain. So again, there's ways around this. There's ways of doing this. And again, I think peer-to-peer is part of that system. And that's exactly what Theta is doing. So if Theta can do it, still using a blockchain, but using the peer-to-peer side protocol, if you will, to do the hard work, the streaming and whatnot that you can't rely on the blockchain for, great. They've used those two things. So why can't we do the same with online content, websites, forums? We all have a node running on our computers everywhere. There's tens of thousands, maybe 100,000, maybe millions. You could take down part of the world and it won't matter. The rest of the nodes are up. It's fine. The content keeps getting delivered. Not only that, you're helping give content to your neighbors, so you don't have to go all the way back to the main hub, where your internet's coming from. Then it goes out to someone else. Oh no, my neighbor down the street's reading something that's on my peer-to-peer node. I send it to them, right? Like a true peer-to-peer network. And I'm not knowing it. I'm just doing it because the protocol is running on my computer, the software. And yes, it would use some of my hard drive space too, some amount. But I can tell you, most websites, matter of fact, just about all of them pretty much, that have any kind of forms or whatever, there's a database for the back end. So when you're typing something, I know it looks a certain way, but that's the front end. The back end is where all the data is stored. That's the most important piece. But a database file, a huge one with an enormous, giant, web form, there's massive amounts of data in this form, huge, might only be a few gigabytes. You got a few gigabytes spare hard drive space? Of course you do. Oh, Joe, I've got a terabyte hard drive. Well, I've got a 500 gigabyte. Yeah, I can just, you follow me? And again, as we go forward in the future, 10 gigabyte, 20 gigabyte, what size hard drives are coming? It's going to be nothing. And especially if you're only hosting part of the content, you don't have to have the whole database. You might only need to have a quarter of it because there's going to be millions of people with nodes running. So you don't need a million people with the entire database on there. Break it up in hundreds of thousands block. Oh, 250,000 people have, 10%. Another 250,000 people have another 10%. Another 250,000 people have another 10% until you get all the way to 100%. There's ways of doing this. But, anyways. And here's the other thing. Let's say we're neighbors, like literally the same neighborhood. And there's 10 of us. It doesn't mean we're all going to have the same 10%, like the first 10%. No, I might have the first 10%. You might have the fifth 10%. The neighbor over there might have the second 10%, right? It'll just be, again, all can be done through the software. Okay, we need the 100% dispersed or be able to be dispersed within every certain geographical location. So Tampa, Florida, we got to make sure we have 100% localized. So 10% here, the second 10% there, the third 10%, all over the place. And it's not like you're going to have to do anything. It'll be, the software will just do it. This is the future. So, again, it's brand new. This isn't going to quite work right now, but, they're looking at it. That excites me. That's a good sign. Take care.